Recently, the demonlist has finally allowed for the clicks between frames mod to be used on completions in the list. While the reaction to this was overall positive, robtop had other plans for whether CBF should be considered legitimate. Today we'll go over the controversy, the demonlist deciding to make CBF legitimate for completions, robtop deciding not to rate levels verified with CBF, as well as where this could go in the future and what I think robtop's best course of action is. If you enjoyed today's video and want to see more coverage of the ongoing CBF drama that seems to never end, please remember to hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps out the channel and you can always undo it later. Currently, we are in a subscriber race with the population of Liechtenstein, which is a European country with around 39,000 residents. And we're starting to get pretty close, so any help is appreciated. And without further ado, let's get into the video. So to start off, on Sunday, the demonlist announced that the clicks between frames mod would now be considered legitimate in runs on the demonlist. Based on player feedback, poll results, and discussion amongst our staff, we have made the decision to allow the use of clicks between frames mod for all demonlist records effective immediately. They do go on to elaborate on why they made this decision, which we'll go over later. For now, all you need to know is that they finally allowed it, and a lot of people were made pretty happy by this. People's reaction to this announcement was somewhat mixed, but still overall pretty positive, and most of the negativity towards this decision is coming from the fact that robtop doesn't really consider it legitimate, and or it is still technically a mod to the game, meaning that not everyone has equal access to it. Whereas one of the main counterpoints to that is, let's be honest, if you don't have access to CBF, it probably means you play on iOS, and iOS players haven't been able to consistently get demonlist records for a long time. Combating this, robtop has actually confirmed that he will not be rating levels that used CBF for the verification. Not using the mod, no. Of course I could make a mistake if I don't know CBF verified, but overall no. Which was already something that a lot of people were probably expecting, considering yes, it is still technically a mod. However, on Sunday the demonlist did already address this in an FAQ posted to their Twitter account. The question being, if CBF verifications aren't being rated, are verifiers at a disadvantage? The response being, in short, yes. CBF verifications have been unrated already, and the mod is banned for leaderboard use. Given this, we advise verifiers to verify levels without CBF if they wish to have them rated. Then go on to explain they don't control the rating system, but they also did mention something that we might come back to later. Not in this video, but at a future date, this could be pretty big. Though placing rated demons has been a staple of the demon list since its inception, an alternative system of ranking unrated levels isn't out of the question. However, this would require a significant amount of time, effort, and community outreach to consider. So if push comes to shove and we start getting more and more controversy surrounding this, if it starts to balloon, it's possible the demon list might actually start placing unrated levels. Although it doesn't seem likely to happen in the near future, put a pin in that one. I have a feeling this will probably come back into the conversation when grief is verified. They also go on to state that the concerns surrounding clicks between frames are outweighed by the benefits in their opinions, and if you try to use CBF without telling anyone, the demon list is now a narc, so you're not going to be able to do that. So this all seems great, but wouldn't this be pretty fixable by simply adding clicks between frames into the main game? And based off seeing the title of this video, I'm sure you can already guess that it's not going to be as simple as that. robtop has pretty much confirmed that the clicks between frames mod will not be added into the main game. Again, in a response on the Geometry-Discord, robtop said he will be adding his own version of CBF into the game, but cautioned that it won't be the same as the mod that we know and love. It's not the same as the stuff people are using now, so no, but similar. Still unsure if it will work on all platforms the way I want it to, so don't get your hopes up. I personally find this to be both incredibly disappointing and unnecessary. robtop already has a pretty good track record of adding some really cool features into the vanilla game that are originally from mods. In fact, when asked if he planned on adding some features in exclusive mods to the vanilla game, he literally stated if it's stuff the community wants, it will probably be added eventually. Which I guess is technically true because he's adding his own version of clicks between frames into the game, but he also literally stated to not get our hopes up, which is directly implying that it won't be quite as helpful to us as the original clicks between frames mod. Even if it's a relatively small difference, that small difference could have a huge impact on the usefulness of the feature. And depending on how robtop implements it, it could probably spark another physics controversy, because if we've learned anything over the past half a year or so since 2.2 came out, even the smallest physics change can cause the biggest controversy. I would understand if robtop was doing this because the clicks between frames mod didn't work on iOS for the same way, or maybe adding it to the main game itself doesn't really translate well cross-platform or something like that. Maybe it contradicts something he's doing with the versus game mode in 2.21, I don't know. But whatever it is, I would really like if robtop were to explain that, because this just seems like a pretty reckless decision to me. Support behind the clicks between frames mod, whether you like it or not, is starting to ramp up and has been overall mostly opposed because it's not in the main game. Outside of that, most people agree that this is overall a pretty helpful feature to the game. I mean, obviously not literally everyone, half the community's diapers, whatever, as evidenced by the recent SpaceUKG Twitter shit. But overall, CBF adds a lot of benefits into the community that even the demonlist pointed out while explaining their decision to allow it on the list. Fixes virtually all FPS related bugs that have been plaguing the community for years, especially since 2.2 when the 240Hz physics were standardized. It increases the accuracy of the physics engine, which essentially boosts everyone's skill and levels the playing field. No matter what the refresh rate of your device is, you would now have a pretty decent shot of beating some really hard top demons, something that this game has not really had for a very long time. And that kind of equality of opportunity is something that I really don't think we should be passing up, at least without a good reason or hell even explaining the reason. None of this is to say that I think robtop's completely in the wrong here. I understand their hesitancy to add a feature that messes with the entire physics engine and how that could have unforeseen ramifications for different platforms, I get it. But for something that could help the community so much, it really seems like this would be the best for the community. In response to a question essentially asking if robtop felt pressured by community opinions that were contradictory to his, robtop responded with, "Not that much, no. I'm interested in the community's opinions but not their approval. Overall, I try to do what is best for the game and the community as a whole." But a lot of the community really seems to think that this could really help the community out. And unless there's some huge Achilles heel to CBF, I think implementing it in its original state would be the best for the community. To be fair, robtop's own version of the clicks between frames mod could be at least pretty decent, maybe fixing all of the hertz bugs at least, but he did deliberately state that we shouldn't get our hopes up and that it wouldn't be the same, even if it is similar in nature. And again, I just don't really see a reason for him to not add it to the game as it is, unless there's some coding issue that somehow only applies to when it's not a mod, which again I could maybe see being the case for iOS, because when has Apple not screwed everyone over? But if that is the case, even if there is some big coding problem with putting the original version of the clicks between frames mod into the main game, it would still, I think, be pretty beneficial to explain that reason to the community, because this is a pretty well supported mod. I mean, if the demon list is even contemplating about adding unrated levels to the list, and for some of you, I'll put this into context, grief is being verified with the use of clicks between frames, which is a hugely popular top one, and you know how the community gets about top ones. I don't think this is going to help prevent the inevitable tidal wave drama 2 scenario with grief, which I could very much see being a much more contentious debate than the one with tidal wave, because on top of the fact that it's an unrated level that people are going a bit too far and asking robtop to rate, it would also be asking him to either rate the level that uses the mod in its verification, or to add the mod to the main game. And while that controversy might be great for my bank account, I don't think it would be great for the community. Overall, I really just wish that robtop would add the original version of the clicks between frames mod into the game, because I think it helps avoid a lot of controversy, and on top of that, it helps the community in a lot of ways. And there are people way smarter than me that can help robtop with this. And if that isn't possible for some reason, at least explaining that to the community I think would help a lot, especially when trying to prevent something like another tidal wave-like drama with grief, and any other verifications that might use the clicks between frames mod. So that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, please feel free to subscribe. You'll see more content like this, and it helps me pay for my starving children. If you want to know more about the debate between if CBF is cheating or not, you can click this video right here. If you want to check out one of my more recent uploads, that card is also on the screen right now. Thank you all so much for the support recently. I'm trying to upload a lot this week. If you'd like to, you can join my Discord server. That link is in the description below. And yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.